All right, everybody. Welcome back to Hawking It with Mark. It's Mark here with the Hawk, and the Hawk, as you can see, is a project right now. Now, I promised you in my last video that I'd give you more of an overall tour of the airplane. Learned a few things from filming that one, and that is that I have to speak up and be careful that I don't cover the microphone on my phone with my hand as I'm holding it. We'll get this. Had to go through hell to get the sound amplified and to reprocess it once in Final Cut Pro. That was kind of a long video, and if you watched it, you know that it was a frustrating evening for me a couple of nights ago. I'm going to try to keep this video shorter and give you a big overview of the situation and the airplane. So this is a CGS Hawk. This is the airplane that I've wanted since I was 14 years old and first discovered EAA and ultralights, growing up in a suburb of Rochester, New York called Honeoye Falls, and met some folks from EAA Chapter 44 out there in Brockport, New York, and they're still very good friends to this day, and that helped launch my flying life and my aviation career, which maybe I'll talk a little bit more about on another video. Anyway, life happened, and although I was working in aviation almost my entire career, there was money, or lack thereof, I should say. There was time, or lack thereof. There was a kid, and then situations related to the mom of that child, and then finally marriage, and then 2 stepkids, and then another kid. So 4 kids, and life, and not enough money, not enough time. I knew early on that I wanted to fly a CGS Hawk, an ultralight. I love ultralight flying, and particularly the Hawk. I've gotten to meet Chuck Slazarzak. I can never say his name right. Nobody can. Very few people can. And he's a great guy, a colorful guy. Yeah. If you haven't met him, you really missed out. He is had a severe stroke, and he is still alive, but he's just not really interacting with people right now, which is a shame. So heart goes out to him and his family. I still have tried to make a few posts since I got into the Hawk to his Facebook, which his son and I think his brother maintain, and just to hopefully make Chuck proud and make the family proud. This is a great airplane. So anyway, without further ado, I bought this Hawk in the beginning of July, and it's a really well-built Hawk, very clean. The builder took a lot of notes. Definitely a first-time builder. Now that I'm getting into the project, I'm seeing some things that could have been done better, and I'm cleaning up things a little bit as I go, but nothing that's caused me a safety concern. The airplane flew outstanding, really great, and the issue is still unknown in terms of what caused my forced landing. I had about 6 hours on the airplane and was doing some pattern work one night, and on my third takeoff, had a partial loss of power and had to make a forced landing in the field off the end of the runway. So I'll get more into that and the engine situation, and also talk more about the forced landing and the realities of being in an emergency situation. And I'll talk a little bit about the error chain, which is an important concept for anyone who flies to kind of get a handle on, and some of the realities of emergency situations where they always say if you haven't been in one, you can't really fully understand. And all I can say is now I understand, and I'm lucky to have walked away unscathed, what with a little bit of damage to the airplane, which is not expensive to fix, at least not the airframe. And here we are, I'm talking to you today, so I can't complain. Anyway, I love this airplane. I love the Hawk. I've owned it for maybe 2 months now. It's beginning of September. Here's what I had to do. So the forced landing was a little bit hard. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about the circumstances in terms of the place I had to put it. But the saddle and the main gear ended up peeling off the airplane, off the boom tube, folding back. And that's some of the repair that I talked to you about the other night. And then it also, as part of that, ended up collapsing the nose gear. So the basic repair is the saddle, of course, one axle that broke on the left side. These lower longerons, as I mentioned before, were bolted, do get bolted to that saddle assembly, the main gear assembly, so the bolts on each side sucked those longerons down and broke the rivets on these gussets where I'm pointing. And so that had to be replaced. Now, the airplane is put together primarily with aluminum rivets, which some folks, may find a little scary. I will say that the airplane does its job in that respect, because if this had been put together with stainless rivets like we normally use in my aviation career life, the damage to the airplane would have been much worse, and I'd have a much more extensive repair on my hands. I'll also say that the airplane did its job really well in absorbing the energy of the harder landing and the gear collapse, such that I could walk away without a scratch. So that's all good. So the main gear, we talked about that in the last video and a little bit today. The nose gear, what I'm doing right now is I had to replace these tubes on each side, and I bought them from the single place CGS dealer, Bob Santum, I think is how you say his last name. And I bought a new nose wheel welded assembly, and I'm actually in the process of fitting that right now. You can see everything is just Clecoed together for now. I actually don't really have this in the correct position. I found it has to move back so that the forward edge is aligned with the edge of the tube here. Now,